April Freeman with the Richmond Public Library, and I'm here with the phenomenal, talented, and I guess multi-job having, because you have a lot of jobs.
Right.
JJ Murray. So how many books do you have out, sir?
Last count, 45. I'm guessing if they're still in print. The Kensington books, I don't know. They come and go.
What was the first book that you published?
Renee and Jane.
And what was what's the last one you published?
Havering Will Marry.
Oh my God, I love that book too. I love that book. That's one of, my favorite is actually You Give Good Love.
Right.
I love that book. What is your method in writing? How do you write? Do you write sporadically or whenever it hits you?
If I can reach over here, I'll show you.
Let me be nosy.
I used to be a journalist, so I have these kind of notebooks.
Oh my God.
And whenever I'm bored, I start writing stuff.
How can you decipher that? It's like
I don't want anyone to be able to read it but me.
Oh,
for example, this is the synopsis for another novel, a new novel. And then there's another synopsis for another novel. When I'm driving to work, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hour commute, these things come to me and I write them down. At meetings, like you're supposed to pay attention. Staff meetings, this is what I'm doing. During church, I used to write on the bulletin.
Yeah.
But inspiration and creativity comes at strange times.
It
the
does.
Brown paper towels in bathrooms, they work very well with a ballpoint pen. You can get a lot of information on a receipt at a stop. This one doesn't have anything on it, but I would at a stoplight. I would write something. I am some people say you know how it's going to end before you begin writing. I said, sure. I don't want tangents. I don't want it just to go, whoa, are you kidding me?
So you don't ever change the end? Like you have the end, but you don't.
I know where I'm going. I have to know where I'm going before I get there.
Okay.
Some people they're like writing for a word count. I'm not. With a regular publisher, they'll say about 100,000 words. I never hit the 100,000.
So you never, do you go over it or you stay under, like beneath it?
Sometimes over, sometimes under. But again, I don't write. Next month is novel writing month, right? And a lot of people are saying, well, I'm shooting for a certain amount of words. And I said, but if you can tell the story in fewer words, why wouldn't you? And if it's a better story in fewer words, why wouldn't you? No, I was just trying to hit my word count and stop.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that either. I never understood that philosophy when writers were like, yeah, I write every day and I try to reach certain amount of word counts. But why? I mean, you write until it's finished in your head.
There's a way to turn off your word count on Word. I use Microsoft Word. And as soon as I did that, that freed me because I can write what I want. For example, one of the greatest books in American literature, and I know I taught it forever, was The Great Gatsby. That's 50,000 words. Go, wait, that's one of the great books. It's 9 chapters, 50,000 words.
Oh my.
Huh? I thought it was, no. Wait, okay, so I don't have to describe every little thing, right? Get to the good stuff.
Exactly.
Get to the good stuff.
I'm so with you. I'm so with you. With that. How do you handle writer's block?
I have had it a couple times, and most of the time I just stop, go live. Something will come into my head. Sometimes what I've been working on, I put aside, and I will mention that later in this video, and I'll be differently. Then I have a file full of fits and starts of things I started and just never. It just like the idea died. So a lot of the books that I've got 2 ideas, maybe one, maybe both, maybe neither. I don't know. But taking notes on anything. When I worked I have been a fast food worker. I started at Wendy's.
Uh-huh.
I delivered pizzas at Little Caesars to get money
Oh.
for a down payment for a house.
Uh-huh.
But there's some dead time, and I would write while I was at work, and then I would just write down what people said. Some of the customers are hilarious.
Yes.
They can say the most amazing things, and you go, "Ooh, that someone in my book gonna say that." And after a while, you have this accumulation of pages and whatever I was writing on napkins, and then I'm stacking them together and said, "Okay, wow, there's a scene right there. Let's go." But it's just real life. Just go out to walk the dog. Not that the dog is going to give you any ideas, but the dog is a good listener. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character? Like, do one of the characters in your book stick out to you? Like,
Wow. I mentioned later on in the video the character in every dog, based on the guys I've been working with for about 13 years. They come from foster homes or they're orphans, and they go through life without families, without any kind of home life whatsoever, and they bounce around. And he's a survivor. And I really liked writing his character because, in the end, he is the hero, but he doesn't want to be. And made for a good romance. It really did, because he's always been alone, and to be with somebody for the first time who gets him, who understands him, who's with him, that's the most amazing feeling he's ever had. But building that character was easy. It was just, hey, these guys here, you're going to give me all the information I need to know. And so a lot of it was based on real life, what really happened to the kids I teach. So I like that character. That was an easy character to write.
What character did you was like, ugh, they're annoying?
I try. In the first book I wrote some characters that were based on real people in my life here in Roanoke, and they said, "Is that me?" And I said, I've been trying to get away from that because I didn't like what you had me say. Or I didn't like how, in one case, I didn't like what you put on me. I mean, what I was wearing. I would never wear something like that. Good grief. It's just a book, okay?
Exactly.
Don't take it too seriously. There was a church that I used in a couple books, actually. But the fun started after the service. And while they're getting that potluck and together, and I'm hearing snippets of this, not very Christian-like conversations going, ooh, I like that. Ooh, how hypocritical. Wow. And then when I did, they were offended. It's like, how dare you? I said, but that's the way you guys are, and that's what makes you fun.
Exactly. What inspires you?
Inspired. My first wife, we can say that, said to do what I teach. Write me a book. So I wrote her a novel. I wrote Renee and Jay just for her, nobody else. I was just going to show her I could do it. One of those marital challenges. And she took it to work at First Union, which is now went to Wachovia. Now it's Wells Fargo. And was passing the pages around to her coworkers. And evidently I had taken a break and I didn't write the next chapter, and I busted her, hey, tell your husband to keep writing. What's going on? We want to know what's going to happen. So I continued to write it. I finished it. And then she said, what are you going to do with it? And I said, at the time I'd already written 4 or 5 novels and sent them to agents and was getting some feedback, but nothing great. I want you to send, and she called it her. Send my book out. And that's the one that got, so she was the inspiration for a lot of books. Readers, writers at these conferences inspire me. My fiance inspires me. Generally people inspire me.
What novel took the longest for you to write?
The third You wanted the novel that took the longest to get to print?
No, just to finish, like to finish your
it,
part.
it's different. Original Love, that took about a year. Journey, which came out last year, took about 8 months. But for the most part, every 90 to 120 days, I can put a novel out. The quickest was 38 days. And that was, I didn't see anybody. I took days off from work. I was up all night. I was on a deadline because they didn't like the first one I wrote. Kensington said, nope, don't like it. Huh? What? So I wrote another one, and they accepted that one. But I never want to go through that again. And since I'm not with a publisher anymore, I don't have a timeline. If I say I'd like to have one out by Christmas, maybe I will. I don't think so. I don't know. It always surprises me.
When you write, what does it? How do you feel? Do it energize you, exhaust you? Do it makes you, what is the feeling that you feel when you write?
There are moments when it's drudgery, but I enjoy the next day looking back what I wrote the day before and fixing that up and then moving on. I've got an outline, I know where I'm going. And so by the time I get to the end of the book, I've pretty much edited everything that came before. So I'm very organized. The energizing parts are that climactic moment. I often write that first. And it's funny because it's so fresh in mind. This is how I want it to go. This is how I want it to end. I'll narrate this, and now I have to get to that point. Do I write backwards? Sure. Do I write out of order? All the time. That's what cut and paste is for. Okay. You can move whole chapters, and I deleted whole chapters because it's too slow. Get rid of. I had some readers say it takes so long for your books to get started. And I said, well, that was the style Kensington wanted. They wanted you to create this indelible character first. You had to give lots of backstory. A lot of people don't know. Just go get on with it. I want something to happen. I want action. And when I edit books, and I've got a few editing jobs in the works now, and I will get more in December for the November writers. If they want somebody. I suggest cuts. Boy, they hate that. I cut my stuff all the time. I've cut out whole characters that were doing nothing for the book. So there's some phantom characters out there that were not in the book, but they might be in another one. That's what being on your own and being independent writer is all about.
Yeah. Do you mentor any writers? Take any writers under your wing?
A few over the years who were college age, who moved on. One became a journalist. She's trying to work in Chicago. Another became a lawyer. You can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Exactly.
And then a lot of my students still remember. I said, look, in real life, once you get out of school, anytime you want something edited, just send it to me. Because that's what I live for. I really enjoy it. And so I would get term papers from college. I would get senior thesis or something. Can you look this over? And I look it over and say, hey, fix this, fix that. I have no idea the subject. Some boy, these kids are very bright. Poets, I love encouraging poets because I started out as a poet. I have a whole bunch of published poetry all over the place. And then some of them, those poems, ended up in Renee and Jay. And I think 3 or 4 books I put some of my own original poems in. And people say, wow, I've read your poems like 10 years before you published your first novel. Really? There aren't too many poetry magazines left in America, unfortunately, because poems don't make money, I guess. But that helps me write, though. Someone said, you write poetically, because in a poem you cannot be wordy. You cannot give these long, big blocks to get to the point. So if I'm describing a person, I want to do it in a sentence. I want that one sentence to be in your head. I can see that person because of that sentence. In a poem,
Uh-huh.
you have 2 or 3 lines to establish something for us to look at.
Uh-huh.
One of the benefits of moving around so much, I was in the military and then he was a successful salesman. I moved 18 times before I turned 21.
Uh,
I was always the new kid, but all these different places I can use a novel: St. Louis, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New
uh-huh.
York, New Jersey, Indiana,
Uh-huh.
Virginia, Ohio. I mean, but I have more to draw from. A lot of people who say grew up in Brooklyn, well, I'm going to just write about Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And so are about 100,000 other authors from Brooklyn writing about Brooklyn.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I go to Canada a lot. I have relatives in Canada. I visited certain places. So I want to incorporate everywhere I go in the Outer Banks, for example. So the more I travel, the better my books. And
Yeah.
then that's another way to get rid of writer's block too. Just go somewhere. Go to Richmond.
Exactly.
Go to
Yeah. Come
Richmond.
on to the library now. Come on. Come on.
Go
Come
to
on.
the library. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the library? Have you utilized the library? I
I
mean, I shouldn't
have.
ask you that, but I'm just.
As an author, I seem to have the most um, turnout, the most
Uh-huh.
interesting questions.
Uh-huh.
Bookstore is kind of corporate,
Uh-huh.
commercial.
Yeah.
Sign my book so I can get out of here. Okay.
Exactly.
If you go to the library, you're there to learn something. You're there to really,
Uh-huh.
really. I was at a up in Baltimore, and this woman asked if she could sit on her panel, and I looked at her, and I knew who she was.
Uh-huh.
It was Zane.
Oh.
And this was her very first reading, and she was
Uh-huh.
nervous. I said, "Are you kidding? You sell 50,000 books a month, and you're nervous?
Uh-huh.
I've never done a public reading before. What do I do?"
Uh-huh.
She asked me. I said, "Well,
Oh.
you pretty much take a little chunk." She took a big chunk,
Uh-huh.
and more people streamed in because of her, and that was nice. I
Uh-huh.
was just starting out, and here's Zane sitting next to me, and that was neat. But that kind of environment, people ask questions. It's fun. The best reading I ever gave was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at a church.
Uh-huh.
400 people in that audience.
Uh-huh.
And I just happened to have a book that had some churchy scenes. So I read those churchy scenes
Uh-huh.
and I sold out
They was like,
because I pretty much nailed the people in that church. And they're like, it sounds like our church. Hmm.
exactly.
Let me go read about that in that book.
What is on your bookshelf?
Right in front of me. I wonder if I could turn this around. I have most of Toni Morrison's books. I have June Jordan.
Okay.
I have, goodness, let's see. I'm probably off the screen here. Alice Walker,
Uh-huh.
James Baldwin.
Okay, yeah. All right. That's goodies.
Turning my head because I need these glasses are not. It's like they're kind of out of order right now, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
I do like for fun just reading. What's the last book? I read all the James Patterson books.
Yeah, I remember
Those
you
are
said
quick
that.
reads.
Uh-huh.
I grew up with action adventure books by Clive Cussler. I thought I would be living on the ocean and being that didn't work out too well. I like a good murder mystery.
Yeah.
And John Sanford. Who else we got here? Sandra Brown,
Okay.
Mary Higgins Clark. I started with those, but
Mm.
she's a master. She's the one that people. Oh, okay, she's very good. Most of what I read is not in my genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
And people ask, why don't you read your competition? Because I don't want to sound like my competition. And not that I don't like reading romance or watching it on TV. It's just to get into my writing.
Besides writing and putting out books and editing and being an inspiration to young men, what do you like to do in your downtime?
I like to cook.
Oh, what you like to cook?
I put food in every book, and people don't realize it. But real people have to eat. And I've
Yes.
noticed a lot of books I've read, they didn't eat a single meal this entire novel. How is that possible? And they didn't
They had tons
bathe.
of sex.
He never shaves. They never do laundry. You know, there's a
Mhm.
long list of things in reality that people don't do in books. And I'm thinking that it's part of my character in a lot of ways. The food you eat says a lot about you, or the food you don't eat says a lot about you. And people identify with that. A woman just wrote me about the Giovanna. I wrote it. Kensington wanted me to write cozy mysteries. Cozy, you know, the cozy mysteries. All right. And I had a woman of color. Okay, be the main. Oh, it'll never sell. Cozy mysteries are for white women. What? Okay, you didn't tell me that. I didn't know. I'd never written a cozy mystery before. But they said, write a 3-book series. I did. And then they said, no, we don't want it because I refused to change to white woman. I wrote it for her. No, okay, you can't. Anyway, she just wrote me and said, your books make me hungry. They make me want to go try it because I put recipes in the code. They show like step by step how they made their pasta and their sauce. So, wow. And I'm going to put a couple of places that Kim and I have been in the books because the food was so excellent. Why not? Isn't food kind of part of the dating scene anyway? It should. Yeah. I do like to cook. When I'm near water, I like to fish.
Okay.
Whatever I catch, I clean and I cook.
Okay.
And whenever we go to Canada, that's what we do. We catch the protein and we get all the sides. So we eat a lot of fish up there.
When it's all said and done, what do you want people to know, or what do you want your legacy to be when you?
That I wrote books, good books,
Yes.
in a genre that I knew it wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. And I didn't jump. There have been some writers who, well, that genre didn't pay off. I'm gonna say.
Exactly.
And that to me is that shows no integrity as a writer. I write what I know about. I've been involved with Black women for over 30 years, and I can't write any other pairing. Kensington asked me to do an Hispanic series. My mom was born in Panama. I said that, and they go, oh, so you are bilingual? No, not at all. She was born in Panama on an Army base, a U.S. Army base. She did grow up on the border in El Paso, Texas, and she is bilingual. But I'm not. I don't know anything about Hispanic culture at all. Okay? And, oh, well, see, even they were tired of me writing the same thing. It would have been very easy after they let me go, after 14 novels, to, all right, I'm going to go for the money. You know, Nicholas Sparks, I can outright him. I can do romance like that. I can write another Notebook, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, no, I can't do it. I don't, no. So I've stuck to what I've done. And some people, even my ex-wife said, you know, you're writing for people. It's such a small group of people. And there's so much competition now. So much. There's so many authors thinking it's an easy genre to write, you know?
I love your writing. It's so, yeah. It's like I feel like I'm there sometimes. Like I'm in the room with that. If I don't think I'm them, I feel like I'm in the room. I'm their friend, or I see them or something. But I love your writing. I want you to keep on doing what you're doing. Stay in that. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.